Here now to discuss the chances of a real resolution or truce is Fred Kempe. He's president and CEO of the Atlantic Council, a CNBC contributor, and I believe he's on the ground in Munich at the security conference. Fred, welcome.
Yes, that's where I am, Kelly. It's good to hear from you. And I just came in town from Dubai, so I've been in the Middle East this week as well.
You know, there was some reporting that European leaders were caught off guard by these potential peace talks, but Trump has made it very clear, even on the campaign trail, his efforts would be to kind of resolve this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's right. You get two responses, and they're different in tone in the Middle East than they are here in Europe. The one is that this is really promising because you need to deconflict great power conflict. And he can diffuse it because he's pragmatic, he's transactional, he non-ideological, he'll get the deal done. And then and that's in the Middle East with Iran, that's here with Russia, that's also with Asia, with China. The downside, the people who are pessimists about this say that he's not thinking of second-order consequences. He could make a deal with Russia that would go over the heads of Kiev, that would only encourage Putin to go in the wrong direction. And of course, here in Munich, you have a lot of history in the background. In 2007, Putin's speech here, which shocked everybody, was really the beginning of his revanchist turn against the West, ending in the war in Ukraine 2 years ago. And now people who were born in that year, in 2007, boys in Russia are going to their deaths in Ukraine, and it all started here in 2007. And then, of course, in 1938, Chamberlain appeased Hitler. And so everyone here is knowing that this is going to be a historic moment this week, but is it going to be one of a positive nature or one to be more concerned about?
Is there anything you think investors need to contemplate? Of course, we saw a move lower in the price of oil on hopes that you kind of take out the geopolitical risk premium.
Well, I didn't see where Russia ended today, but it started with a 5% boost. The ruble strengthened, so people are making a bet that over time sanctions could be lifted on Russia. Perhaps they'll even get back some of their assets. That's a long way in the future. The most interesting thing to me, and it's not been commented on nearly enough, was Secretary Bessent's trip to Ukraine, where he's negotiating, it seems to be, he's negotiating arms against critical minerals. And Ukraine has rare earths, critical minerals. We all know that's the supply chain of modern power and modern influence. And it also is encouraging to Ukrainians, because if the U.S. is interested in their minerals, if the U.S. is interested in its sovereignty and its independence, and the Defense Secretary Hegseth said that plainly, that could be good news for Ukraine, that the U.S. will have a good reason for it to arm it a little bit better, give it some security, and engage in a long-term relationship.
In other words, you think that's maybe something the defense investors should be thinking about as well, that we're trying to strike a deal that would provide them with defense systems and weapons in exchange for access to their rare earths?
Well, Trump has said that if Putin doesn't go in the right direction, that he would arm Ukraine to the teeth. And we'll see how this plays out. If he wants a Nobel Peace Prize, and people around him says he'd like to have that, he's not going to do it by appeasing Putin. So I think the people who right now are worrying that Trump is going to give away Ukraine to Russia, I think that's far too early to worry in that direction. And there's enough to balance it out. There's reason for concern, but there's also some reason to think that you could reach a peace deal that could make Ukraine more secure and over time be integrated in the West, even if the U.S. doesn't want to bring it into NATO.